How much do we each want to live? How much? How much we each want to live is taught to be a mystery. Stories in scripture tell of women considered to be refined who would hide their own placenta because they wanted to eat it by themselves. When I tell you I know your world is a lie, I expect someone to ask me why. Fine wine, well refined, is hard to define to a man forced to drink muddied water. Because the evil people of this world, as scripture says, it's not enough for them to have pure water. They want to muddy the other people's water. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Hola, Luther the Truther. He'll be sleeping good tonight because when I talked to him, he had just got done working. And when he works, it's that four-letter word, workity doodah, upholding that Protestant work tradition. We got to protest something. Here, I got to share the screen. Remember to share the screen. Now I am showing that because I'm going to show a few videos and then we're going to get right into a Bible study, the Bible. That's the book for we. Ought to know this.
It's packed with sensors all over its body. It has 4 depth cameras in the head, over 500 sensors across the body, including 70 inertial sensors to track movement and 320 pressure sensors built into the muscles and skin. Those pressure sensors are critical for allowing it to grip objects
Shake hands
without even thinking. Without them, a robot could simply crush a cup. Just think about it. It's not just bones, muscles.
Really transforming every aspect of your life, being as sort of attached to you as your iPhone is today.
For their first fleet, the robot will simply learn from you. Imagine it stands behind you, watching what you do, and then just copies that. Imagine it can.
Imagine. This guy seems like he'd be a pretty good college teacher.
Well, let's use an analogy, okay? The analogy is this. In Chinese history, the most popular military stratagem is to fight with a river behind your back. You guys have heard of this strategy, right? Where, okay, an army is losing, okay? It's being scattered by the enemy. So what the general does is forces the army to retreat to a river. And now with the river blocking your escape, you have a choice. You can either drown in the river or you can fight to the death. And most soldiers will choose to fight to the death. And so at this point, the soldiers are unified, they're galvanized, they're energized, and then they find a surge of energy to go and destroy their enemy. Okay, this is the most popular military stratagem in ancient Chinese history, and guess what? It's the same as Israel doing this right now in Gaza. It's the same logic. Yes, you have a question?
So what is the river for the Israel? Like,
yeah, that's a good question. What's a river right here, right? The river is a taboo, right? What's the worst thing you can do in modern society?
Well, God says that we should be raising godly offspring, and he always hated, the child sacrifice. He could, it's bad. So that's it.
Killing children, guys, right? So there's no exit for Israel. You either go all the way.
Like the United States, they're all in on evolution. Abortion's good. Here's the pill. There's going to have to be a different world. We'll talk about it when I get to the scriptures. I hope you believe that abortion has sealed our doom. It was inevitable, but abortion, they're killing children because it would interfere with their money-making ability, their lifestyle choices.
If all beings share the same divine ground, then compassion, humility, and selflessness become not just virtues, but necessities. To harm another is, in a sense, to harm oneself. Thus, the perennial philosophy
But they believe in abortion.
links inner awakening with outer action. Still, Huxley's vision has not gone unchallenged. Critics argue that by focusing on similarities, he flattened out the real and often profound differences between religions. Others suggest Huxley was reading
Yeah, they all think that you know what Huxley and those guys think.
the meaning of human existence. And do all religions share a common message? His answer was yes. Huxley believed that beneath the surface rituals, myths, and doctrines of different faiths, there exists a timeless truth, a perennial philosophy.
They believe it was that they think they're Christ, that Christ is in every person, they're their own God, that you are not a drop in the ocean is a drop in you. So we're going to look at this Bible verse, 35 important, I looked up verses about handshaking, symbolism of peace. It says in Bible times, a handshake could symbolize peace and reconciliation. There's no Bible verses that mention handshaking in the New Testament that I could find. Do unto others, they say do unto others, so that's handshaking. Handshaking anywhere. Peacemakers. Handshaking. Be devoted to one another in love and go honor them, shake their hand. There's holy kissing. I don't know what that is. I don't do it. I mean, I'm until I'm sure. I've been holy kissed. People greet me that way sometimes. I always am like a stiff little mannequin going, oh, I don't even like to hug that much, you know? So handshaking, where did it come from? Look, there's a handshake deal. Handshake. That shaking hands with their left hand in some countries, I guess. Boy Scouts in Mexico. That, you know, some people think that these are Masonic. Some places they have don't shake your hand. Is that's a something? That's some sort of a handshake. That is too. I don't know why they say it's a recent thing. Said it may have originated in prehistory. We saw it. Here's a, now this is definitely something going on here. What's up with this girl? There's a couple girls in there, not too many, but that's a warm greeting. The Quakers preferred it to doffing their hat. Commonly greet them, shake their hand, some respect. Is this really a depiction of shaking hands? The reason I'm saying this is there's a lot of people that are a lot more dangerous than me. And like David and his mighty men, the Gibberim that supported David, that's the word they use, the mighty men that trained themselves in martial arts that could go and undo 15-foot tall, 9-foot tall giants, it was because they were martial arts and trained. Now, even at my age and my limited experiences, if somebody gives me a hand and says, here's my hand, and especially if I can, they say, hey, what's up? And I can greet that hand with some momentum going forward, you can rob that person. You can have them on the ground subdued in no time. There are pressure holds. There are ways that you won't hurt them, but they'll know that if they move, it will hurt very much. You can, so giving someone your hand is our form of submission, because I can't see any biblical evidence for it, and we'll look for it. Now, they're saying that's a handshake for the goddess Concordia. Other weird things going on. There were a few pictures we didn't look at. And that's the one that started it. Denmark did it. Austria does it. It's just good thing, maintain eye contact. Well, for a long time, people in the Orient would have bowed, keeping their eyes on them. You know, how you doing? You know, some countries still do it. China, age is considered important in handshake etiquette. Germ spreading now. Uh-oh. So elbow bumps are in, fist bumping, foot tapping. That better be a part of your plan. I thought I had some pictures I wanted to show. You know, the desert drifter, who I think was mysteriously killed, snuffed out because he was finding too many locations like this. And yes, this is what I'm saying. This is where I think that the people that live will end up, we have to emulate them. And I think find out where they were living and go there. And stay away from the 5G, stay away from their robots. When I get to the scriptures, you'll see why. They were told, go to the mountains. They were warned. The wolves in sheep clothing are listening. Beware. There's always going to be wolves in sheep clothing. The bell. It's life's a mystery, is it not? We got it figured out. We know handshaking could be dangerous. Here's a little bit more of a true history from the history.com. They're reputable, I guess. The handshake has existed in some form or another for 1,000 years, but its origins are somewhat murky. One popular theory is that the gesture began as a way of conveying peaceful intentions, because you'd say, here, take my hand, do whatever you want, or showing they were no weapons. It's murky, very murky. One of the earliest depictions of a handshake, 9th century, I think as Bible mentioned king, Babylonian ruler. We'll be talking about a Babylonian ruler, un momento. While the handshake had several meanings in the ancient world, its use as an everyday greeting is a more recent phenomenon. That it means this took place, it's something that happened. Some historians believe it was popularized in the 1600s by the Pope's secret weapon, the Quakers, who viewed a simple hand clasp as more of an egalitarian alternative to bowing or tipping a hat, doffing your hat. The greeting later became commonplace by the 1700s. All right, so 1711, things changed. They came out Victorian. Don't shake it too hard. Firm but not over strong. That was 1877. Now, of course, why would I want you to go live in the mountains? Let's look at Isaiah, verse 33:16. He will dwell on the heights. His place of defense will be the fortress of rocks. His bread will be given him. His water will be sure. Isaiah 33, be merciful to us. Oh, you destroyer. Yikes, there's going to be a bunch of betraying going on. When the betrayers get finished betraying, then they will betray you. Your eyes will behold the King in his beauty. They will see a land that stretches afar. Your heart will muse on with terror. Where is he who counted? Where is he who weighed the tribute? Where is he who counted the towers? You will see no more the insolent people, the people of an obscure speech that you cannot comprehend, stammering in a tongue that you do not understand. Wow. But there the Lord in majesty will be for us, a place of broad rivers and streams where no galley with oars can go. You know, those Bible boats had oars on them. Viking boats had oars, Roman, Greek, it's all them. The Lord is our lawgiver. Who among you can dwell with the consuming fire? And we will be rescued by fire, at least some will. Who among us can dwell with the everlasting burnings? He who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, who despises the gain of oppression. And you know, a lot of those things, the genocide going on in Gaza right now, that isn't only to kill the children. They're making money off of it. Their friends are making money selling very expensive weapons. Beware he who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, who despises the gain of oppression, who shakes his hands least they hold a bribe. Maybe that's why they started doing the hand jive. He who stops his ears from hearing of bloodshed and shuts his eyes from looking on evil, he will dwell on the heights. His place of defense will be a fortress of rocks. That's not enough to make somebody think, I should go with Paco and live in the mountains and burn down the 5G towers. Stop it. I'm not going to be burning down any 5G towers. I'm simply not going to be saying that's an evil thing to do. So there's that. Where am I looking at? This looks like a relatively strong root word. This is somebody that is anointed. I see it is his anointed. Face of you, touch not mine anointed. There's the anointed of God. If you go back one, because we saw, although it's a solid root, it's pretty spread out, with the biggest one being 8 usages in 39. Three times it's used. Here's King David. He was definitely anointed by Samuel, same person who anointed Saul. Let me see how I anointed Cyrus. Cyrus is not even a Hebrew. Huh. Must be a typo. What's the book of Enoch say about that? There, I have beheld Cyrus, Yahweh's anointed. Wow. Like, wow. Let's look at it in the ESV. Thus says Yahweh to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have grasped. Now that's a way to subdue it. He's grasped it so that he can subdue the nations before him and to loose the belts of kings, to open the doors before him, that gates will not be closed. I will go before you and level the exalted places for his anointed Cyrus. When did the time of the Gentiles start? When the kings of Persia and Babylon said, Esther, my honey, my new wife, better than that gold digging wife I had before. Esther showed me that Jews are good. In Babylon, they had Daniel and Meshach saving the day for those guys, and they both came to the same conclusion. Worship the God of the Hebrews if you want to know who the most powerful God is. That's the time of the Gentiles. It was the Gentiles who told Herod and the others, hey, we've been looking at the scripture. It's time for the Messiah, right? Prophecy's ready. Stars and signs in the skies. You ready? And they're going like, show me those scriptures. We want to kill those children. Did he take his right hand like to shake his hand to his anointed Cyrus? Held Cyrus his anointed, loosed the kings, the nations to subdue before him the right hand. I don't think he was shaking the right hand. Nope. That one doesn't look like he was shaking the right hand. And this one has double doors so that the gates double doors before him. What? Anyway, that one said double doors. I suppose I'll have to look into that. But right now, Sunday night Bible study, ho, he, ho. Is this something that I was trying to explain this to Luther, but I didn't have the big screen going here trying to say, how many verses have people like you set through here? And on the right side, it usually starts out with New American Standard, King James Version, then the Greek and the interlinear. And it explains, none of these words explain what's going on here. It says one who had been the wife of Uriah, that they're going into the genealogy because there's David married Uriah's wife after he murdered him. But he was forgiven and he paid for it. We were trying to say, who's the beast? What's up with this beast thing? So the beast gets captured, and with it, the false prophet, who in its presence, not his or hers presence, its presence. The beast was captured. He had deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and they had worshiped it. Now the false prophet, who in its presence, the beast is being referred to here, had done the signs by which he, that's a he, the beast is a he. We're sure of that. I'm sure of that. So I wanted to look up that verse and see what is that. Is the beast because some people worry about it, and things like that. And the beast system could be money, could be what we're doing right now with the fiat money. And was captured the beast, and with so him the false prophet, the one having done the signs. It's it. So that must be the it. And here's that weird thing. Do you see? If you pick another word like pseudo, it means false. Greek, New American Standard, King James, interlinear. That's how they're supposed to be. That's not this word, though. Look at what about 2 times. It's translated all 5 times. Circumstances 3 times. Experiences twice. Hey, you outsiders, you made it 3 times. Those, that sounds human. What had happened? Is this a good root word? No. No, it is not. It is not a good enough root word for me at this point to believe the beast, actual beast used by false prophet, could not have been a money system. So there's that. Right here on a flat earth nation with the golden age past, because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else, because we know we're called, we're chosen, we're trying to be faithful to the end. How do you know you're saved? Well, you die in faith. You're faithful to the end. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Aderease. Nakamai. Adios, amigos. I just like